Welcome to Deep Thought, the power of your imagination. I'm gonna tell you what, your imagination is powerful. Just imagine stuff. Imagine anything about yourself, how you want your life to be. Because for those who follow the Hermetic tradition, they'll say everything is mental. For those who follow some New Thought tradition, you have the idea of infinite intelligence. Everything is ultimately thought. I don't care what it is. If you look at the device that you're watching this on, the devices that I use to record this, I got music on, the television in the background, I have some lights, everything I'm wearing. If you look at everything up here man-made, it started as a thought. It started in someone's imagination. That's how powerful it is. Just think about it. But it's today I wanted to talk about the power of the imagination as far as living the life you want to live. You got to see it first. See, one of the things, and I'll talk more about the negative side in the next episode. But if you want to change how you living, you need to first imagine it. You need to see yourself. I remember one particular time that I used the power of imagination. It was when I was on this public access TV show back in the 90s that really got me started on the path that I'm on now. It was called Love and Happiness. And I remember before anything, I imagined myself being on a panel, wearing a blue suit, when this gentleman who was running the show, was producing the show, he hadn't even talked about something like this. The show was just getting started. Now, I never forget, and I thought about what I imagined. I imagined like having a suit on, imagine like having a crowd there. I imagined that crowd waiting for me. Oh, guess what happened? They had a panel at this bookstore. And the crowd was waiting for me because, well, quite frankly, I was running late. But I had a blue suit, and I thought about that as I was doing this show. And it was a very powerful instance. But I imagined it first. And when you imagine something, when you use your imagination, and then you got to have the thought of making it come true. It can happen. When you have the vision, some people call it a vision. It could be an imagination. You can have the thought of it. See, you have to imagine all the good stuff that you want to happen to you. On my men's channel, I talk about, I have Starving Saturdays. A man would have to imagine himself being in that position. Or even in the position I'm in now, I imagine myself being in that position. Being in the position I'm in now, I make my money saying whatever's on my mind. I don't have to follow anybody. Now, some people will that's one of the reasons why when people hit me up, say, hey, Ron, can you talk about this? No, because it's not in my imagination. See, that's the thing. See, the thing is, a lot of people, they don't imagine themselves in good positions. Like I said, I'm gonna talk about that in the next episode, but I'm gonna tell you how powerful it is. Once you have an imagination, once you imagine something, that's a vision. Once you have that vision, the rest of your subconscious will follow. It will do the things that you need to do. Like say you imagine yourself in a big old house, okay? A big mansion somewhere with like a few acres, okay? Now, if you take that, if you imagine yourself what's going to happen, you're going to start doing the things and start seeing the things that can help you get there. Like, let me break that down even more. Okay, you doing the things. Okay, all of a sudden you want that big mansion. You're looking at how much money you making currently. It's not going to get you there with what you're making. But since you're imagining it, all of a sudden you're going to start thinking about business ideas. You're going to start thinking about certification and education for you to get more money. You're going to start looking for better paying jobs. If you're serious, if you're just playing around or something, it ain't going to happen. But if you're serious, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing stuff that you didn't see before, that you didn't imagine before. You know, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing stuff. You imagine it, all of a sudden you're going to see the path. It's going to be, oh, this is the path to getting what I want. But you have to have that first. You have to have that first. You got to put yourself in a position to get there. And when I look at many of the things I have in life, many of the material accomplishments, I imagine myself having it before anything. Anybody can do it. That's a power in itself. You can imagine it. You know, taking action, seeing things. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful, but you got to have it. You got to have that vision first. Because if you imagine yourself doing something, you know, then it will be so. Because then when you're using that power, it is a power, it's a great power. But if you imagine yourself doing some negative things, yeah, well, that's going to hurt you too. Indeed, that's why the theys try to control the media. Well, not try, control the media. That's why the theys try to tell you, oh, no, this is all you can do. And people have heard it be based on their gender, based on their race, based on whatever. They controlling it. Indeed, when you look at, and I'm going to get more into this in the next episode, but let me just briefly say it here. When you look at what's shown on TV or in movies or something of an image that resembles you, a lot of people take that into their imagination. One of the things you got to do is you can't follow that. And I'm going to get more into that in the next episode. But I'm going to tell you how powerful it is, no matter what. And see, one of the things too is you can't allow somebody else to tell you where you can go and where you can't go. Because you got to have a strong self-perception of yourself. And then you got to, and look, and I don't care what it is. And yeah, you might not have the knowledge to get where your imagination is taking you, but if your imagination sees that end point, oh, you'll get the knowledge. You'll start doing the stuff you need to get to that point. But you got to see it first. You got to see it. Take it from a man who has been labeled a dreamer, except my dreams have come true. That's because I imagined it. I imagine whatever I want. I don't care what it is. I don't care what people tell me. There's so many things, and there's one big one I'm working on now. Like I always say, global domination. Yeah, somebody going to be like, wait a minute, he's serious. But that's how powerful your imagination is. But that's why you have forces outside of you that try to control that, because they know. They get a critical mass. And if you have, say your imagination is of creating a great movement or something, it will happen. It's actually easy with social media and everything. Whatever it is, whatever you want. It could be just a nice place in the countryside or something. And I've seen other people who've had that gift. They would use their imagination. They would just pop up with stuff. You know, material things, peace of mind, mates, everything. But it got to come from within you. And that's the beauty of an imagination, all right? So anyway, I'm going to get more into this in the next episode, okay? Because it's a very important what I'm going to talk about, all right? So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.